In this episode, we talk about how to stop taking yourself so seriously. Get excited because this is Tiny Leaps. Big change. Big. Welcome to another episode of Tiny Leaps. Big changes, where I share simple strategies you can use to get more out of your life. My name is Greg Clunas, and in this episode, we are talking about how to stop taking yourself so seriously. This is something that I have struggled with basically my entire life. I'm not sure where it comes from. I'm sure there is a therapy session that could help me deal with that, but it's something that I've always found I'm sort of on the non-desired end of, where something is happening or I messed up at something and I just take myself so seriously. I get so upset with myself, right? Like, it's never I'm mad at somebody else, or like, it's always just like I'm mad at myself because I feel like I could have done better. I should have done better. I should have done this. I should have done that. And I spend so much time beating myself up about these things. And I've found that the personal development journey, while incredibly valuable and ultimately is the key to solving that problem, is also the perfect opportunity to have that problem become a bigger issue. I've found that with my own personal development, when I screw up, quote unquote, when I do something that I know I shouldn't be doing, when I break my diet, when I feel too tired and I don't work as hard as I could, these are all moments that I should be forgiving to myself, but my habit is to not be. My habit is to be very hard on myself in those moments. So in this episode, I really want to dive into my own sort of journey on this, what I've found helps the most, and hopefully you'll walk away with something valuable for your own life and your own journey. Now, before we jump into it, let's talk about today's sponsor. Let me tell you about one of the ultimate life hacks. It's hard to find the time to sit down to read and learn more. And when you don't have free time, you can't read or work on personal development. Well, there's an incredible app for that, and it solves that problem with ease. I highly recommend it. It's called Blinkist. Blinkist is really unique, and it works on your phone, your tablet, or your web browser. Blinkist takes the best key takeaways, the need-to-know information from thousands of nonfiction books, and condenses them down into just 15 minutes that you can read or listen to. Successful people like business leaders are well known for reading a lot of books, and Blinkist is made for busy people like you who want to get the main points of a book quickly so you can start using that information right away. And with its audio feature, Blinkist makes it easy to finish a book during your commute, on your lunch break, or while you exercise. Just 15 minutes. 12 million people are using Blinkist right now, and it has a massive and growing library from self-help, business, health, to history books. It has the latest titles from bestsellers lists, as well as the classic nonfiction titles you always meant to read but never had the time to. One of the books I've been meaning to read for a while is Dare to Lead by Brené Brown. It's one of those books that I hear about constantly, but I just haven't had a chance to pick up yet. Thankfully, with Blinkist, I can go through it in 15 minutes and then decide, do I want to pick up the full book or not? Either way, I get the information and I can walk away knowing what that book is about and using its insights to improve my life. With Blinkist, you can get unlimited access to read or listen to a massive library of condensed nonfiction books, all the books you want, and all for one low price. And right now, for a limited time, Blinkist has a special offer just for Tiny Leaps listeners. Go to Blinkist.com/tinyleaps to try it free for 7 days and save 25% off your new subscription. That's Blinkist, spelled Blinkist. Blinkist.com/tinyleaps to start your free 7-day trial. And you'll also save 25% off, but only when you sign up at Blinkist.com/tinyleaps. All right, so as I've mentioned, this is something I personally struggle with. It's always been a part of my personality, and it's something that I really dislike about myself. Because on the one hand, right, it's sort of a positive negative. On the one hand, me taking myself seriously, me working hard at things, me trying to do better, always looking for my fault in situations and trying to find a way to improve on them, that's a good thing. right? That is a blessing. That is something that not everyone has that allows me to keep growing and keep improving. And it's a big reason why I am where I am in my life right now. It's a big reason for wherever I end up in the future. That's a major, major reason for it, because I'm willing to face facts and accept the truth that I am not as great as I want to be, that I am not as productive as I want to be, that I'm not as well-rounded as I want to be, that maybe I'm not as good of a person as I want to be. I'm willing to accept that truth and then look for ways to fix it. But there is a dark side to this, and this is why this is such an important topic for people engaging in personal development on a day-to-day basis. There's a dark side to that desire, because sometimes that means looking at situations that could not possibly be your fault, could not possibly have anything to do with you whatsoever, and still searching for that little kernel of thing that you could improve on. Right, still searching for that thing that if I just did this differently, then maybe, right? And that's not healthy. Like, that gets you into a really dark place. That gets you into a place where everything becomes your fault. Everything is a testament to you not being good enough. Everything is an issue because you didn't do a good enough job at this thing, or you didn't listen to this person well enough. Like, and sometimes that's true, but sometimes it's not. And in both scenarios, beating yourself up does nothing for you. So this is a very personal issue to me. It's something that I've struggled with. One of the things that has helped me, one major part of it, and it doesn't always help. It's not easy to do. It's not something that, you snap your fingers and boom, you believe this now. But it's something that when I'm able to remind myself of, does help a lot. And that is to accept your own humanity. And I know that sounds cliche. It sounds like a thing that, oh, well, yeah, obviously I'm human. Okay. I get it. It does. It's not like this super amazing secret technique that's going to solve all your problems with 3 pills and 10 payments of $9.99. But it is the truth, because you are only human, and everyone else around you is only human, and every other person on this planet is human. And what does that mean? It means we have flaws. It means we're not perfect. It means that we are going to screw up. That is inevitable. It means that we're going to fail. That is inevitable. It means that we cannot control everything. In fact, we cannot control most things. Humans are inherently flawed, inherently failed experiments, quite frankly. All we can do as representatives of that species is try our best. And when we try our best and it doesn't work out, we have to, yes, look for things that maybe could have been done differently. Maybe there's some areas of improvement, but then we have to be willing and able to remove guilt, remove anger at ourselves, remove all the emotions that we're adding to it. Think about it. If you were AI, right? If you were artificial intelligence, just stick with me here. This is going to get weird. If you were artificial intelligence, and you made a mistake, you would look at the situation, you'd crunch the numbers, and you'd say, okay, I made a mistake here, 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 and here. I won't do that next time. And then what happens? The next time you don't do it. But for humans, we can't do that, right? We look at a situation and we make a mistake and we say, okay, I made mistakes here, 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 and here. Why did I make a mistake here? Damn it, I know this. Why did I do this? I know that this is an issue. I've done this before. Like, this is a problem. I need to fix this. Why am I so stupid? Why am I making the same mistake over and over and over again? I'm trying so hard. I'm working so hard. Why isn't it working? I'm just not good enough. Maybe I just shouldn't try anymore. Like, that's where our head goes. And all of that, everything I just said, was literally stuff I say to myself all the time, right? Like that came very easily to me because I say it all the time. And I'm sure that to some extent you do too. Maybe not as extreme as I do, maybe more extreme than I do. But to some extent, you have had that exact same dialogue with yourself over some minor mistake that ultimately did not matter whatsoever. And that distinction between something AI, yourself as AI, artificial intelligence, that could just purely be logical about a situation and look at it and say, these are the mistakes, cool, won't do that next time, versus humans who look at a mistake and say, okay, these are the mistakes and here are all the reasons that I'm a piece of crap. Like, that's really hard. We add so much emotions to situations. We add so many just over the top feelings to situations. And it's hard to remove that. But if we can scale back on the emotional analysis and focus more on the logical analysis, we can get all the benefits of looking for opportunities to grow without all the negatives of beating ourselves up. And a big way that you do that, a big way that you remove those two, is to add time to the situation. So if you make a mistake, you should not, and this is something I've tried to make a rule for myself. I don't always do it, but I do try. If you make a mistake and you screw up and you have an opportunity to review that, do not do it immediately. Add time to the situation. Come back to it at the end of the day. Come back to it tomorrow. Come back to it a day later. Come back to it 3 days later. Add however amount of time you need, because that's going to allow you to remove those initial emotional responses. One of the things I learned from one of my favorite sales books, it's called Pitch Anything. It's by Oren Klaff. And he's talking in the context of like how to sell somebody on something, right? But there's this really interesting concept in there where he talks about how when you are delivering a message to somebody, it first passes through the emotional center of the brain, the medulla. I believe it's the medulla. It first passes through sort of that lower stem of the brain. And that's where all of sort of the different emotions are processed. That's where we sort of decide if it's a fight or flight situation. Like that's where the core instincts of humanity exists. After it passes that, then it gets to the logical centers of the brain. And that's the prefrontal cortex. After it goes through the emotions is when it gets to the logical center. So think about that. If you make a mistake and you try to analyze it immediately, the very immediate thing that you're going to, like the first part of your brain that passes through is the emotional center. That's why it's so easy to beat ourselves up. If we add time to the situation, we can remove that emotional connection to the outcome of that thing and allow ourselves to actually get to the logical side of our brains, where it passes through the emotional center and it's a much more reduced reaction because time has been added. And now we can actually get to the logical and say, okay, cool, this is what I did wrong. I need to do this, and this differently. But you got to add time. That is, in my opinion, the big secret. If you want to stop taking yourself so seriously, if you want to give yourself a break when you screw up, if you want to actually see improvement in your situation and change your actual behavior without beating yourself up constantly, you've got to add time to the situation, and you have to accept that you are humans. Humans work in a particular way. If you add time, you're able to mitigate that. And that can help you to actually pull the value from failure without all of the pain that comes with failure. So I hope this is helpful to somebody out there. If it is, be sure to click subscribe. And listen, do me a favor. This would mean the absolute world to me. If there's somebody in your life, a single person, it could be your sister, your mom, your daughter, your son, yourself, your aunt, your uncle, your husband, your wife, whomever it is. If there's somebody in your family who could use this message, who takes himself way too seriously, who is a fan of personal development and wants to grow, but beats themselves up every single time that they make a mistake that they shouldn't have made, share this message with them. I think that this is one of those episodes. There's only a few of these in the entire catalog of the series, but I think this is one of very few episodes that if the right person hears it, it could dramatically shift their entire life. So share this episode with the people in your life. Let them know that this is there as a resource to them. I would appreciate that so much, and I know that they would appreciate it as well. Thank you so much for being here. Be sure to click subscribe wherever you're tuning in. I've been Greg Clunis, and remember that all big changes come from the tiny leaps you take every day.